Something happened to Jacob that is a lesson. Jacob walked with God to a point where God named himself after Jacob. Now let me tell you this. One of the ways God honors men is to name himself after them. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac. That is not a gift. That is a reward. That a man can so walk with God that he will have a personal name. It's a depth of relationship. And captured in that name will be a dimension of God, that every time it is invoked, God will act in a certain way as a memorial to that person. The manifestation of the God of Abraham is not the same as the God of Isaac. It's not the same as the God of Jacob. So Jacob is about to teach us how he was able to secure that level of intimacy with God. In chapter 28, the Bible says he came to a place called Luz to sleep. And when he lay down on a stone, he had a dream, and he saw a ladder that was connecting the heavens and the earth. Angels ascending and descending. At the top of it was God himself. And he began to speak and tell him prophetically about his destiny. Jacob woke up from his vision and he said, surely the Lord was in this place and I knew not. He said, this must be the house of God, you know, the gate of heaven, and so on and so forth. And he was careless with that encounter. Next scene, he would pay the price for 20 years in Laban's house for trivializing such an encounter. Now in chapter 32, God comes again. This time around, Jacob is wiser, because pain can be a blessing. There are certain things that only pain can bring and teach. It's an uncomfortable truth, but it's true. Hallelujah. Now he was prepared. He had seen the value of an encounter with God. And in chapter 32, the Bible says he dismissed his wives, he dismissed his cattle. When he was alone, a man came to him. Now watch the encounter. And he held him and began to wrestle with that man. And the man said, leave me, for the day breaketh. And Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. How did he bless him? Number one, what is your name? I am Jacob. He said, thou shalt no more be called Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince you have had power with God, and you have prevailed. And then the Bible says he touched the hollow. You see that? That he's able to stand strong, independent of any aid, is because there is a structure in him that is complete. And God says, I don't walk with men this way. If I meet you complete, there is nothing much I can do. I will have to take away something from you that becomes your point of dependence on me. And God called it a blessing. I'm showing you how he blessed Jacob. So when God comes to bless you, one of the ways he blesses you is, hold on, he searches for what has been him before his arrival, and that becomes what he's going to touch. He does not touch it to destroy you. He touches it to bless you, because true sons depend on Abba. That's why the Bible says, in following, make sure you only follow them who through faith and patience. If you don't find faith in their pursuit and patience, run away from them. Faith means that they had to place their trust on a government and authority higher than them. That in following people, discern how they got their results. Did you find somewhere in their equation where they had to depend on God? If you don't find it, that is a risk. So Jacob received that blessing that would have called a curse. He touched the hollow of his thigh, and Jacob became incomplete. He became destabilized, and now he blessed him. When he blessed him, the Bible says the sun arose and he called that place Peniel. It says, for I have seen God face to face and my life is preserved. There are many of you that some of the things that may look like your point of achievement that God touched, it was not necessarily the devil. It was God luring you to bring you to a deeper place of dependence. To say you've carried the narrative that it only takes a job to do well. Now it's been 5 years without a job and you've never begged. Have I proven to you that I am Abba enough? The moment the point is proven, he will give you one job that will pay for that 5 years, to mean that it was not about withholding it. It was about teaching you something, so that in the place of worship you can throw the job like your alabaster box and still worship and say, job, you met me in a relationship with someone. Prosperity, you met me in a relationship with someone. You are only a channel, you cannot be Abba. You see, let me tell you this. Everything that God gives you, I don't know what it is about things and people, there is an obsession to be God. Your job, finances, opportunities, and they will attempt climbing that ladder to sit at the throne of your heart. So God designs a system and brings you to a point where nothing, you guard it with jealousy. No matter what God brings around you, you know that dependence is the law of sonship.